So, very good afternoon, and today we will see the design principles that are used for the piston. In right side, you can see a figure. Inside, you can see a piston. This piston is connected to a crankshaft by means of a connecting rod. So ultimately, whatever combustion takes place inside the cylinder, due to that combustion, huge amount of pressure is created inside the combustion chamber, and that exert a large amount of force on the piston head. And because of that force, the piston moves in downward direction, and this is a reciprocating motion. And with the help of connecting a rod, that reciprocating motion is converted into a rotary motion, and it is given to crankshaft. So that is the primary function played by the piston. Again, it plays an important role in suction, compression, expansion, and exhaust stroke. So again, you can see on the piston there are small grooves you can see on the top of the piston, and it plays an important role, especially it seals the inside portion of the cylinder from the crankcase by means of a piston ring. And due to this, the combust gases will not enter into the crankcase. So the piston along with the piston rings has to perform that role as well. Again, at the same time, during the reciprocating motion, there is a chance that the oil which is present in the crankcase may enter into the combustion chamber, and that should also be restricted. And for that, the bottom rings, which are also called as oil scraper ring, they restrict that flow of oil from crankcase to combustion chamber. Furthermore, the piston has to take the heat from the combustion chamber and dissipate or transfer it to the cylinder and to the atmosphere. So heat dissipation also be done by piston. Then you can see the various parts of piston head. This is the piston head or top of the piston, and in this case we can see it is a flat piston head. Then there are grooves for rings. So the upper rings are generally called as compression rings, whose function is to restrict the flow of combustion gases from combustion chamber to crankcase. And the lower ring grooves are called as scraper rings or oil scrapers, and its function is to restrict the flow of oil from crankcase to the combustion chamber. Then the piston and the connecting rings are connected by means of a piston pin, and which is placed inside the pin boss. And the bottom portion or this particular portion is also called as piston skirt. So we will see one by one the piston head. In this case, it is a flat head which withstand the gas pressure inside the cylinder. The piston head may be either flat or concave or convex in shape based on the design of the internal combustion engine and the capacity of the combustion chamber. These two parameters decides what type of piston head needs to be selected or designed. Then piston rings, they act as a seal as I mentioned and prevent the leakage of gas past the piston. They are also called as compression rings, and generally the upper grooves in which the piston rings are placed. Then the bottom ring grooves are and in which the oil scraper rings are placed, and it prevents the leakage of lubricating oil past the piston into the combustion chamber. Then piston skirt, it is the lower part of the piston below the piston ring to the bottom dead center, we can say, or bottom of the piston, and that act as a bearing surface for side thrust exerted by the connecting rod. As we know, the connecting rod convert the reciprocating motion into rotary motion, and that causes the thrust force and which is exerted, and that needs to be absorbed by the piston skirt. Then piston pin, as I told you, that it connects the piston and the connecting rod. So what we need to do in the design of the piston? So first we need to understand which are the different segments of the piston. So first top land, then ring sections, and then skirt. So in the top land, the main design consideration or design part is to calculate the thickness of the piston head, and here you can see cup shape of piston head or a crown, and we need to find, as a design engineer, we need to find out the thickness of the cylinder head. Then we need to decide shape of the piston head, either flat, concave or convex, based on the capacity of the combustion chamber. So these are the important things we need to design. Then in second section, that is in ring section, we need to find out how many grooves we should provide for compression ring, so that these rings will restrict the flow of combust gases to enter into the crankcase. Again, we need to find out the number of grooves for oil scraper rings, so that the flow of oil from the crankcase into the combustion chamber will be restricted. Then in case of skirt, you can see we need to find out the thickness, again the dimensions of the piston pin we need to find out, then the thickness at the bottom of the piston barrel or skirt we need to find out. So these are the important things we need to find out as a design of piston, and for that we need to use certain derived equations, certain empirical relations we need to use. So before starting, we need to first of all find out what are the design requirements of the piston. So first, of course, it should have sufficient strength to withstand the force due to combustion of fuel, and also inertia force due to reciprocating part. So strength is one of the important criteria. Second important design requirement is it should withstand for high thermal and mechanical distortions, because lot of force is exerted due to combust gas, and also the reciprocating motion needs to be converted into rotary motion. So the material should be in a position to take such loads and distortions. Third, it should have adequate capacity to dissipate heat from crown to cylinder wall through the piston ring and the skirt. So heat dissipation is one of the role that piston need to play. Then it should be of minimum weight, so that there will be less inertia force and smooth reciprocating motion will take place. Then it should form an efficient seal to prevent the leakage of flue gases from combustion chamber to crankcase past the piston. It also prevents the leakage of lubricating oil into the combustion chamber past the piston. So both leakages should be avoided. Then it should have sufficient bearing area to take the side thrust and prevent undue wear. Then it should create less noise as it is continuously reciprocating inside the cylinder, so noise will be generated. So this is one of the requirement, that noise should be less. It should provide adequate support for the piston pin which connect the small end of the connecting rod. So these are the some of the important requirements for the piston. Then piston material. So generally cast iron is used. Again, cast steel, forged steel, cast aluminum alloy, and forged aluminum alloys are used. So, cast iron and aluminum alloy, these are the two important materials. And for manufacturing the piston, casting and forging, these are the two widely used operations. Then we will see some comparison between the aluminum alloy material with respect to cast iron. So, first, aluminum alloy has high thermal conductivity, approximately 3 times that of cast iron. Therefore, an aluminum alloy piston less variation in temperature from the crown to the piston ring. So that is good property of aluminum alloy. The density is also very low with aluminum alloy. So weight is low, so less inertia force you can see. Then what are the positive sides of cast iron over the aluminum alloy? So it has higher strength compared with aluminum alloy piston. Then strength of aluminum alloy piston decreases rapidly with the cast iron piston. So cast iron strength remains same or very close to the original strength even though it is working at high temperature. The wear strength of the cast iron piston is more than corresponding alloy piston. The coefficient of thermal expansion of aluminum alloy is approximately twice that of cast iron, and therefore aluminum alloy piston need more clearance between the cylinder wall and the piston ring. And cast iron pistons are used for moderately rated engines with piston speed below 6 meter per second, whereas aluminum alloy pistons are used for highly rated engines with piston speed above 6 meter per second. And as I told you, two manufacturing processes are used, forged and casting. So and you can see the temperature variation in both the cases. So here you can see the temperature variation that are often observed due to forging and casting as two different manufacturing processes. So based on that you can make a choice between which type of manufacturing process you need to use. Then we will go to the estimating the dimensions of the piston head. So you can see the TH is the thickness of the piston head that needs to be estimated. So again, in case of flat plate type or cup type, the notation used is TH. Same. And again, the type of head, as I mentioned, is selected based on volume of combustion chamber and arrangement of walls. Then the design needs to be carried out based on two criterion. First is strength, and second one is heat dissipation. So these are the important criteria that needs to be considered while estimating the thickness of the piston head. Then, on the basis of strength criteria, the piston head is generally considered as flat circular plate, even though it is of cup shaped or conical shape. We consider it as a flat circular plate, and we also assume that the thickness is uniform and fixed at the outer edge. Second thing is that the pressure which is exerted by the combust gases on the piston head is uniformly distributed, and that gas pressure is denoted by P max. So generally, practically the force is not uniformly distributed, but from design point of view, we assume that it is uniformly distributed over the piston surface. Then, according to Grashopp's formula, the thickness of the piston head is given by TH is equal to D. D is the cylinder bore or cylinder diameter into square root of 3 upon 16 into maximum gas pressure inside the combustion chamber, which is generally during the power stroke, divided by sigma B. Sigma B is the permissible bending stress, and it is in Newton per mm square. So this formula is often used for calculating the thickness of the piston head. Then again in the figure you can see, first one is flat head, second one is flat head with w- wall recessed, then cupped head, here cup shape you can see in the cylinder piston head, and dome shaped head you can see. So these are the four types of head, and its selection is totally based on the capacity of the combustion chamber. Again, engines having L by D length to the diameter of the cylinder ratio up to 1.5, then cup type head is provided. So this generally ratio is considered for selecting the cup type head. Then there are some important point that needs to be considered while designing the head of the piston. So the first one is bending stress sigma B is the allowable tensile stress, and it is calculated as the ratio of ultimate tensile strength of the material divided by factor of safety. So if you know the material properties, you can calculate the permissible or allowable tensile stress. In some cases, the material properties like ultimate tensile strength and factor of safety are not specified. So, in that case, the allowable bending stress for cast iron is taken between 35 and 40 megapascal, whereas for aluminum alloy it can be taken as 50 to 90 megapascal. So if the material properties are not given, you can choose the values between the given range. Second, the maximum gas pressure may rise up to 8 megapascal. So if this value is not given in the problem, and if you think we need to assume it, then you can take up to 8 megapascal. Again, the average value of maximum gas pressure can be taken between 4 to 5 megapascal. So, as per your design requirements, you can select the values between these two values. Sometimes, if you want to design a robust cylinder, then you can take the value up to 8 megapascal. Again, there is an empirical formula recommended by Held and Favory for the thickness of the piston head. According to this formula, the thickness of the cylinder head is expressed in terms of bore diameter, and it can be taken as 0.032 d plus 1.5 mm. So, in general, in the industry, what they do, if they know the material properties, then the maximum gas pressure inside the cylinder, and all assumptions those were made at the beginning of the design of the piston head. Then they develop such type of empirical formula for calculating the head of the piston. So this is how, or this is the alternate formula that can be used for calculating the thickness of piston head. Then again, the second thing is that the heat dissipation is also important role of the piston head, and piston head has to absorb the heat developed inside the combustion chamber, and that heat needs to be transmitted to the cylinder wall so that the heat will be dissipated from combustion chamber through piston head to cylinder wall to the atmosphere, and it should have sufficient thickness to quickly transfer the heat to the cylinder wall. So that critical thickness value needs to be identified, and for that we use this formula, that is th is equal to h upon 12.56 k into tc minus t into 10 raised to 3, where capital H is amount of heat conducted through piston head, K is thermal conductivity factor, Tc is temperature at the center of the piston, and Te is the temperature at the edge of the piston. So these two temperatures are very important. At the center, temperature is Tc, and at the end, the temperature is Te. So with the help of this formula, we can calculate the thickness TH. Then again, the value of thermal conductivity factor K, there are some recommended values are there for grey cast iron. It is 46.6. For aluminum alloy, it's 175. Again, the permissible value for temperature difference, Tc minus T. So, for gray cast iron, it is recommended that the value should be taken as 200 degrees Celsius, and for aluminum alloy, it is 75 degrees Celsius. Then the amount of heat conducted through the piston head is given by H is equal to C into HCV into M into brake power BP into 10 raised to 3, where C is the ratio of heat absorbed by the piston to the total heat developed by the cylinder. So that ratio, and it is generally taken as 5%, or C is equal to 0.05. HCV is higher calorific value of fuel, kilojoule per kg. M is the mass of fuel used per brake power per second, and BP is brake power. So with the help of this formula, you can calculate the amount of heat conducted through the piston, or if you are interested to know the mass of fuel used per brake power per second, you can also use this formula. Then the higher calorific value for diesel is generally taken as 44 into 10 raised to 3 kilojoule per kg. For diesel, sorry, it should be either of the value should be petrol. So I will let you know in the next lecture. It is 47 into 10 raised to 3. Then average combustion of fuel in diesel engine is generally taken between 0.24 to 0.30, or M can be expressed as this formula: 0.24 to 0.3 divided by 16 to 60 upon kilowatt. So the ultimate unit will be kg per kilowatt per second. Now, after estimating the thickness of the cylinder head, we need to find out the number of ribs. So in the figure, you can see the two piston ribs are shown. and the cup is also shown. So there are two questions. One, how many ribs should be provided for a given capacity of cylinder, and what should be the size of the cup, that is for example its radius, dimensions between the center to the extreme end. So you may be interested to know the radius of this cup. So these are the important things need to be estimated. So the piston head is provided with the number of ribs for the following reason. First, it strengthens the piston head against the gas pressure. So here you can see the ribs are in contact with the cup. So it increase the strength by supporting it. They increase the rigidity and prevent distortion of the piston head. So this is the important second role. Then ribs also transmit a large portion of combustion heat from piston head to piston rings. So heat dissipation also a role of the piston ribs. This reduces the temperature difference between the center and edge of the head. So generally at the center the temperature is high, and at the end of the cylinder, sorry, piston, the temperature is low. So whatever temperature variation between these two, that should be minimum, and the ribs help for the same. Again you can see, as you know, the connecting rod converts the reciprocating motion into rotary motion. So here you can see the rotary motion, and because of that the forces are acting on it, and because of that there is a side thrust you can see here, and that side thrust also needs to be considered while estimating the dimensions of the piston as well as number of piston ribs. So the side thrust created by obliquity of connecting rod is transmitted to the piston at the piston pin. It is then transmitted to the cylinder wall through the skirt. So it is transmitted to the cylinder wall through skirt. The stiffening rib provided at the center of the boss and the extending around the skirt distribute the side thrust more uniformly and prevent the distortion of the skirt. So we need to consider the side thrust, and it also varies over the period of time. So in the figure one, first, second and third, you can see the direction of the side thrust, also its value also changes, so that needs to be considered. Then guidelines for ribs. So when the thickness of the piston head is less than 6, then there should not be need of ribs. But if this thickness is more than 6 mm, suitable number of ribs are required, and it is generally taken between 4 to 6. So this is a thumb rule that we need to take the ribs between 4 to 6 if the thickness of the piston head is more than 6 mm. Or you can also use this formula to calculate the thickness of the rib. So after selecting the number of ribs, we need to calculate the thickness of the rib. So it is generally expressed as the thickness of the piston head, and it is divided by 3, or the thickness of the piston head divided by 2. So between these two values you can keep the thickness of the ribs, where Tr is the thickness of the ribs and Th is the thickness of the piston head. So in brief we can say that number of ribs are generally taken between 4 to 6, and the thickness of the rib is expressed in terms of thickness of the piston head. Then guidelines for the piston cup. So you can see in the figure the piston curve and how it is designed. So it provides additional space for combustion of fuel. So the capacity of the cylinder or the capacity of the engine can be increased by providing a cup on the top of the piston head. Then, based on the location of the suction wall, exhaust wall, and the fuel injector in case of diesel engine or spark plug in case of petrol engine, based on their arrangement, the location of the cup is decided whether it should be at the middle or any of the close to any of the end. So that depends on the designer and the arrangement of the walls. The size of the cup also depends on the volume of the combustion chamber. So based on your design requirement, you can decide the size of the cup. So here you can see the size and how much it increases the volume. When the ratio of stroke length to bore, so L by D is up to 1.5, then a cup is required on the top of the piston. Otherwise, it is not required. Then the radius of the cup is generally taken as 0.7 D, where D is the bore diameter. So we will stop here and briefly once again I will tell you all the things once again.